is I want to go through that, complete the square on the formula, or on the equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, because I went too fast. I was waiting through it.
Can we do it all again?
Yeah, we'll do it again. That's cool.
Again.
Just do better on the second time. Alright, let's go ahead and pray though, and then we will. Okay, let's go ahead and pray to get started. Father, thank you that we can learn more about quadratics and their equations. Thank you, Lord, for the quadratic formula, which really helps us to find out these roots, whether rational or irrational, on these graphs. Thank you, Lord, that we can see how this actually came about. This formula came about through completing the square, and that, Lord, even though completing the square isn't always easy to understand, Father, it has many benefits, and I pray that the students may see one of those benefits today, and then be able to work it out even more in depth in the next couple of days with the actual quadratic formula itself. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Okay, so here we go, guys. I want you to write it again. I'm making you write it again because I want you to do something later on for me by yourself.
We plug in numbers.
No, you will plug in numbers, but not on this one.
You
All right,
Letters.
here we go. Yes, tell me about it. There are a lot of
I know the
letters.
answer, Mr.
All right, if I take this equation, oh, 8th grade, this is bad already. If I take this equation, what's my first step? I'm going to start calling on people to tell me the next step, and I'll try to get most of you, if not all of you. Andrew, what's my first step? Divide everything by A. Everyone's doing this again. Trust me, you're going to want to know how to do this on your own. What am I left with, Jack Angel?
X squared plus bx over a plus c over a equals 0.
Good. What do I do from here, Dylan? Holding.
You subtract CA to the other from both sides.
Okay, you subtract C over A from both sides. What am I left with here, Michelle?
X squared plus bx over a equals negative c over a.
And I'll leave a blank there for the perfect square value. Anna Grace, how do I get this number?
You multiply bx over a times 1/2.
Okay, yeah, and it's just the B over A. You're
Oh
going
yeah, sorry.
times 1/2, good.
And then you square that.
You square that. What is this value? B over A times 1/2. Gracie,
Say that again.
what's just this multiplied together right here?
B over 2a.
B over 2A. Drew, what's B over 2A squared?
4a squared. No,
That's on the bottom.
b squared over 4a squared.
Okay, so what do I do with B squared over 4A squared? William.
Put it in the.
Oh, sorry, William. Yeah, sorry.
The question.
Yeah, what do I?
I just
That's okay. What do I do with the B squared over 4A squared? What do I do with that?
you add both sides.
So plus B squared over 4A squared to both sides. All right, next step. Josiah, what do I do with this part? What do I get?
X plus b over 2a squared.
Squared, okay. What do I get, or what I had to do on the right side? Olivia, so what do I do with this?
Do you add them?
Can I add them the way they are?
No,
Why not?
because they're not like terms.
They don't have like denominators or common denominators. What is the LCD, Ellie, of these two?
4a squared.
4A squared. What do I multiply the first fraction by? Nelson.
4 or
4.
or 4a.
4A. When I multiply this by 4A over 4A, Matthew, what do I get for the first fraction? Oh. So it's 4A over 4A times negative C over A.
Negative
I'll give you that.
4a c.
4ac over
A.
4a squared. Okay. What is this combined? How did I did something to it. I didn't just write it the way it is. I kind of switched things around. So what do I do when I combine these two together? Hagen.
Are you asking like what you get?
Yep.
B squared minus 4ac over 4a squared.
Alright, and then I still have this part up there, so x plus b over 2a squared. Alright, what do I do from there? Sophie.
You can square
What do you call it? Square root then? Square root both sides. What am I left with on the left side? Henry. What am I left with here?
This is just x plus b over 2a.
Uh-huh. And then what am I left with on the other side? Philip?
Plus or minus
This is tough. If you can get this, is awesome. Go ahead. So plus or minus?
square root of b squared minus 4ac.
Awesome. Okay, now on the bottom, do you guys notice the last time? I just said it was 2a. How come I left the square root up here in the numerator, but I took it away from the denominator?
Because you can
square the
Yeah, because that is a perfect square, and I get to square root it. I can't square root that up there. Just can't. Okay, then what do I do? Will. I still want to get x by itself.
You subtract x on both sides.
I want x to stay here basically, so what do I do?
Oh, you subtract b over 2a squared from both sides.
b over 2a. b over 2a. Okay, so I'm left with x. And then I did another switch kind of with these two. I didn't say this minus that. I went plus or minus that. Okay, so this is where I started rushing. I'm going to write this as negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So just rearrange those terms. Okay, do I have a common denominator? Excuse me, do I have a common denominator? That means I can just add the numerator or subtract the numerator, or both add or subtract. What am I left with in my final answer? And this is where I'm going to put this on the board because this is super important. We are left with a quadratic formula. This is it. You guys did well, by the way. That's good. I know some of you looking at your notes, it's fine, but at least you can follow me. Quadratic formula. X is equal to, who can give it to me? In its final ultimate form. So this is right before I can put it in its final. All right, Elijah.
So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
That's it. Commit that to memory, guys. You're going to need that.
Why would we ever use that on
Oh my goodness.
We know how to deal with
Because there's different ways.
Yeah, numbers are way easier.
Yes.
Because then if you get the numbers, you can just put it in there and not have to use it.
Right, yeah. So you're going to start using this. You're not going to, okay. You're not going to have to do this on a problem normally. But you're going to use this formula. You're going to use this formula. Yes, I was cryptic in what I just said. But you're going to have to know how to complete the square, and you're going to know how to use the quadratic formula. So today, you need to be starting to think about how to memorize this. You got to memorize this formula. But we're going to look at only one part of it. Do you guys remember, and Michelle, you said it last time, so don't say it again. What's negative b over 2a? You guys remember what that was? Axis of symmetry. You guys remember that? X equals negative b over 2a. Alright, this other part is also important. We're just going to look at this little part right here, b squared minus 4ac. So write this here, because this is what the lesson's called. The discriminant. Discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So this is the whole quadratic formula, And this part right here is called the discriminant. Do you guys know what it means to discriminate? Oh, we're gonna get really touchy, and YouTube has this too. So, come on, give me some feedback. What does it mean to discriminate? What do you think of when you think of, raise your hand. Yep.
Like choosing or like finding differences in two things or something like that.
Okay, finding differences in two things, yep. Or more things, yep. Anyone else? Yep.
Like allowing something more privilege than another thing.
Okay.
Separating it.
Now you're starting to like say, all right, they're different, and so now we apply more privilege to one group than the other. Good. Anything else? You, yeah, some,
I think of like when like we were discriminating blacks.
yeah, blacks and whites, right? So we're discriminating based on skin color. Uh-oh. Anything else? Don't, it's okay, guys. Listen, can I give you background to where I'm from? I'm from California, and it was more racially mixed. So I'm not offended by color at all. I think we're different colors, right? Yeah, okay, yes. And my kids, right? My wife is Caucasian, I am Hispanic, and my kids are a mix. So they're like the other. You get to say other in their documents. But how many of you think discrimination is bad? I like this. Okay, good. One hand. Oh, wow. 2, 3. Oh, this is.
It depends what
Okay.
you're discriminating.
It depends on what you're discriminating. I discriminate all the time in class. All the time. I'm discriminating left and right. I discriminate those who are getting the problem and those who are not getting the problem. So how do I discriminate? I identify those who get it and those who don't. This is how I discriminate. You're working the problem out, and you're like this, looking at me very confidently. I'm like, they get it. And then those who are like asking, they don't get it. Now, I could be negative about it and say, those who don't get it, what are you? Come on, just get it. Or those who are getting it, man, good job. You're just so awesome. Yeah. But what I do for discrimination, I just say, all right, some are getting it, some are not. How can I help those who are not? How can I try to challenge those who are? I'm discriminating. So please don't quote me to your parents today and say, Mr. A loves discriminating, because I do, but in the positive way. I also discriminate guys versus girls. You're a guy, you're a guy, you're a girl. Okay, I'm discriminating between gender. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just saying, yes, you're a gentleman, gentlewoman. Okay. So we discriminate all the time. We're just finding differences. But is it wrong to discriminate? And you guys answered perfectly. It depends. When I teach Algebra 1, I'm teaching either 8th or 9th graders. I don't teach Ezra and Titus this stuff. Not yet. Next year, maybe. I'm discriminating. I'm teaching you guys something you can handle, and I'm not going to, like Ezra will ask me sometimes, what is that, Daddy? I'm like, it's math. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's math. It's algebra. And he's like, what's algebra? I'm like, we can learn about that later, Brady. That's too advanced. I'm discriminating, right? Because he can't handle it. No, he can't. He hardly knows the letters, so he's going to have a hard time. I'm discriminating. We are going to discriminate the types of answers we get. How many of you realize that it's nice when you get integers as your answers? Remember, like +4, -7. You like that? Okay. How many of you did not like getting the square root of 7 in that answer? Remember that in the homework? With the discriminants, you can tell me what kind of answers you're going to get without having to work out the whole problem. You can be able to say, that's going to have fractions. That's going to have irrational square roots. It's going to have one answer. It's going to have two answers. So this is what we're going to use to discriminate, and we will do it in a positive way. Okay, so let's look at a couple examples and see how to do it. So again, please don't quote me. Mr. A taught us to discriminate, and I will not see you tomorrow because I'm fired. So please don't do that. Some of you just got a good idea. Wait, that's all it takes for you. Okay, please don't do it. Okay, here we go. So I have a quadratic equation. Some of you might be thinking something, which is a good thought, but don't use it yet.
Why?
Okay, but I'm not trying to come up with the answers. I just want to know what kind of numbers will I get for my solution. So what I want to use is that discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. All right, first, is this written in standard form up there?
Yes.
Okay, do you know what your a value is? What's your a value?
1.
What's your b value? And what's your c value?
25.
Alright, so you identify those, you don't have to write those down if you don't want, but you should at least identify them. What is the b value? You said -10. What's -10 squared? 100. Alright, and then I'm gonna put the other numbers, it's technically I want you to do it like this. Actually, you know what am I thinking? You need to write it like this, because when you actually use a quadratic formula, you're gonna mess yourself up by doing things mentally, which I just did, and I'm sorry. A is 1, B is 25. Okay, go ahead and simplify that using order of operations. What do you have to deal with first? Order of operations, exponent, so there you get the 100, and then you multiply, you get -100. What do you end up with? 0. Okay, when you use discriminant, and you end up with 0, you get the type of solutions you're gonna get. Here's the answer. This is what you're gonna put today on today's homework. You're gonna get one rational number. One rational, you can abbreviate, one rational number. One rational number. You just discriminated, you're gonna get one rational number. If you got 0, you get one rational number. That's all you're doing today. You wanna complete the square to figure out what that number is? No, but, okay, can you factor it? You guys know how to factor
Is
it?
that just a perfect square?
Yeah, so what is it?
X minus
-5? Okay, you square both sides, square root both sides, or you could, okay. You end up getting what? X equals 5. Don't you get x equals 5 twice? But isn't that just one rational number? See how you found that out without working it out? You're gonna get one rational number.
So negative
That's
5
all we
could
have to
work.
do.
Today's
When
Today's
you get 0, that's when you.
That's what you put, one rational, because you use the discriminant to find out, what kind of answer am I gonna get? One rational number.
So then we're basically ready for the homework already?
No,
Oh.
because there are 3 other scenarios, yep.
How'd you get the -4? Or the -4a?
Oh, that's part of the quadratic formula, that's that -4ac.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I get that discriminant, it's right in that square root.
Okay.
Yeah, good question, because it didn't come from the problem itself. Alright, here we go. X squared minus 24, no, minus 10x, I'm so sorry. Plus 24 equals 0. Okay. That's b squared minus 4ac. I put parentheses for all the variables. What's b in this problem? -10. What's a? 1. And what's c? Okay, now by the way, these are not hard. There's a reason why they're not hard. They just want to introduce you to the process. Alright, what's -10 squared? It's like we've seen this before. 100. And then what's 4 times 1 times 24 and it's negative? Sorry? 96. What's 100 minus 96? Okay, ready? Here's our second scenario. Did I get 0? No, so it's not one rational number. If you get a positive perfect square, positive perfect square, positive, yeah, perfect square, then you get 2 rational solutions. And you can say numbers, I guess. Plural. 2 rational solutions. Do you guys remember what that means for your graph? This is pulling something out from last week.
Like 2x intercept.
2x intercepts. What did the last problem have? 1x intercept. Okay. And the intercepts are going to be rational. Does anyone remember what rational means? Because we don't want to kind of skip that. What does it mean to be rational? Okay, it's a terminating decimal. It's not. Okay, it's any number that can be written as a fraction. So that could be a whole number, an integer, or any fraction. So that's what we're saying with that answer. Okay, the third scenario. X squared minus 10x plus 20 equals 0. Okay, factor that. Yeah. Let me begin. Starting now. Factor. Can you factor? So right, there's no roots, right? Okay. Now we can use that discriminant to find out what kind of answers, if any, because maybe not. But you're gonna have to be doing this problem with that. Completing the square or quadratic formula tomorrow, not today. Okay, I just want to know what kind of answer I'm gonna get. I know it's not gonna be, one rational, not two rational, but let's see what we get. Yeah, three rational. Can a quadratic equation have more than two roots or zeros? More than two? No. The maximum number is two. It can have one, or it can have
Zero.
What do you guys think? What's your estimate? What's your guess?
1.
So your guess is 0, 1, or 2?
Yes. 0.
Okay, all right.
0, 1, and
2.
All right.
My guess is 2.
0, 3.
You covered the spread there.
1.3.
Negative 10, 1, and 20. By the way, you notice that we're always getting negative 10 on these examples. You're not getting that on the homework. They're going to give you other numbers. All right, what's negative 10 squared?
Wait. It's
100. What's
0.
negative 80? You get what? 20. All right. Is that positive? Is it a perfect square? No. If it's positive, non-perfect square,
0.
two irrational numbers. Yeah. You're like, what are you talking about? Do you remember that, what was it? Negative 3 plus the square root of 7? And negative 3 minus the square root of 7? Do you remember that one? That's two irrational numbers. All right, that's the third scenario. I'll give you a little chart at the end so you kind of know. You guys get that? Kind of? So are we specific on the number? Are we kind of picky on the number?
Yeah.
All right, what if you get 0 for the discriminant? What are your possible solutions? One rational solution. What if you have a positive perfect square?
2.
Two rational. What if you have a positive non-perfect square? Two irrational. Okay.
Negatives.
What if you have 0?
All right, then last scenario here. X squared minus 10x equals negative 30.
So basically, all we have to know is still what bx from the b squared minus 4ac and then negative.
But you would know what type of answers, and then when you work it all the way out, you get the actual answers. And I'll show you why that even matters tomorrow, especially. I just want you to get this part down. Do I just work it out the way it is?
And you have to move it on one side.
So I got x squared minus 10x. So don't forget, make it in standard form. Positive 3 equals 0. Okay, so the discriminant time. How many of you know b squared minus 4ac? Like, how many of you, like, written it so many times you just memorized it? Do you know negative b over 2a? You've memorized that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You already know b squared minus 4ac. So all you have to know is square root and 2a and that plus or minus. You're like, that's it?
But then we have to put it all together.
It is hard, but the more you say it, the better it'll be. And yeah, someone identified this for me. It's so important. Where is it also found?
That's crazy.
All right, negative 10, 1, and 30. 100 minus 120, negative 20. If it's a negative number, give it to me.
1 irrational.
Okay, one irrational. Zero solutions.
0 irrational.
Zero solutions.
No roots.
1, 0, 2 irrational.
1 irrational. 2 rational.
2 irrational.
2 imaginary. Numbers.
Okay, I'm gonna put this though. No real.
No real number.
All right. Okay, I think they want you to put no real numbers, which is so boring. But I want you to put two imaginary numbers because I want you to get comfortable with that terminology. Can you get the square root of a negative number? No, but remember what I said about square roots of negatives? start thinking imaginary. Think imaginary.
If it's imaginary, then
Does anyone know what that means for your graph? Because you can still graph it. What
it's
is it?
not real. So
Below
there's no
this.
answer.
No exit.
No x-intercepts, is basically what it's saying. No, it's either above, or it's above and going up, or it's below and going down, and I'll never hit that x-axis in between. So, I want you to put this, I want you to put this
If it's
instead of that.
imaginary, why is it even a thing? It's just fake.
No, it's not. Imaginary is not fake.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Imaginary means it cannot be graphed on the number line.
It's fake.
Not in math.
Mister, if there's two irrational numbers, there is a graph.
You have to estimate. Like, remember, square root of 7, what did we say? What did you guys estimate, 2.6?
2.6.
So I think it was -3 plus 2.6, so like 0.4, negative, yeah, negative 0.4, so you have to find that on the graph. So it's just, you gotta round it.
No, Mr. It is fake. Because if you're imagining something, then it's not real. It's not there.
It hasn't
You're
been
doing the
found
same
yet.
What if
thing.
you
That's
imagine
not,
part of
okay,
it-
actually, can I give you a little distinction here? All numbers are fake by that definition.
Cause we just came up with it.
No, we didn't just come up with that,
So
but
everything's fake.
someone say, what's 4?
A number.
4.
Yeah, what's
It's a
4?
lot.
Like, what does that mean?
It's
That's
four.
so weird.
Some people say this, 4 means this, Mr. A, come on, you're being silly. Not to the Romans.
Definition of
four?
Is there a definition of math?
It's an idea of fourness, 4 things, concepts, they're all in your mind. Just for you, Will.
Actually, I like the number 4.
Alright, do this one, I'll put something on the board, alright.
The number 4. No, 15 is your number.
If you could do this one, and I wanna make sure I write it correctly. Alright, here we go. You have to use the discriminant to tell me what type of solutions you will get. Don't just give me a guess, by the way. And then I'll write the types here. Maybe spell my word wrong by saying that. Discriminant. Here are the 4 options. If you get 0, you write 1 rational number. If you get positive, no, what am I saying?
We're gonna find 7 and 10.
Ooh, that's a nice one. Thank you, sir.
Wait, what if it's a huge number?
Like really huge.
Like 2,500.
1,089?
It could be.
Yeah, no.
That's why 1,004.
That's perfect.
I got this.
Is it a perfect square?
Positive, non-perfect.
Alex, is it a person?
What number did you get?
I got 2
One
for
eye.
9.
I'll give you this. It is a perfect square. Who can find it first?
9.
Uh-huh.
7, no.
No. Write it down. I don't want guesses. I want someone to say, give it to me.
I
What's the
got you
first one?
120. It's 127.
No. Because 127 times 127 is a huge.
33.
At least 30. Yeah, but,
Yeah, but you.
33.
So
looked in your
that's
little
kinda
book.
cheating.
okay.
And she was
Oh,
supposed
he
to
was.
say it out loud.
How dare you.
So he cheated.
Wow.
How many of you got 1089?
Wow.
1089.
You should.
When you work out the discriminant. Alright, that's a perfect square.
Wait.
And guys, you know what? Actually brings me a good point. Brings up a good thing. Just just look it up in the back, where is it? Did you get some quickly? Last page. You can look up any perfect square that will be applicable to you guys. I'm not gonna use anything that's out of this. And, where is it, 1089? Okay, yeah, you can see square, 1089 is 33 square root.
Sir, are we about to have our books just close to us when we take like a quiz or test?
No, I'll make them reasonable.
Is that reasonable?
It comes out as 1089.
Yeah, 33 times 33 is
Dude, I'm
108.
not in my mind.
What's the 33?
Did you look at your book?
I thought it was 37.
Yeah, it was 37.
Yeah, 37.
Genius, hundreds.
Okay, 30. Oh, are you? No. We're saying this square rooted equals 33. That's what we're saying.
It's.
What's that for?
It's a square root.
Yeah, what's 37 times 37? Find the square.
1369.
Oh, one, is that it?
1369.
That's something else. Gotcha, okay, yeah. Gotta go through the whole discriminant here. Here are the four options. If it's 0, one rational solution. Yeah, so sorry, it's a positive perfect square. 2 rational is what you should have put. 2 rational, that's it. Yes, sir?
Is the square root of -1 less than 0?
Say that one.
Is the square root of -1 less than 0?
No, I can't say that, because it's imaginary. It's not on the same, you can't compare them on the same thing. That's a good question. That's like a riddle. Is the square root of -1 less than Alex. Alright, your homework tonight.
You and Justin got moved every class.
2 to 14 even.
I didn't do anything.
Bad children, bad children.
Shut up.
Okay,
Right.
So are you gonna leave that discriminant table thing?
I can sleep it.
It's pronounced discriminatory.
Wait, so we can use the table in the book, in our book?
Yes, with the homework I would. Alright,
Okay.
good day. Good day.
Enter.
See you, Justin.